Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. We're talking about the Democratic debate last night. We were talking about Sarah Huckabee Sanders' comments on Twitter going after Joe Biden and really making fun of anybody that has a stutter. And I never called myself a person of faith. I never called myself a religious person. But I don't talk like that. I don't make fun of somebody with a stutter that I don't know. Well, I don't do that.
I mean, it's the lowest hanging fruit. It would be like calling Sarah Sanders, overweight.
Yeah, which I wouldn't do, by the way. I don't care. I don't care. What Sarah Sanders looks like. What I care about is what's inside and the things that come out of her mouth. And I think that's character. I think that shows character. Now, she did apologize. I will give her credit for that. That's not something that Donald Trump will ever do, is apologize for anything or take responsibility for his actions. I'm glad she at least apologized and owned up to it. She since has deleted that tweet. But to make a reference and for somebody to call up and say that we can't make fun of her because of her statements is absolutely absurd and ridiculous. And by the way, I don't put myself on a pedestal. I'm just some idiot radio host that has a lot of opinions. I'm not Sarah Sanders. I don't go up there all and mighty and say I'm a woman of God and I'm a person of faith. It's ridiculous.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders, her father is Mike Huckabee. So yes. Again, there's probably some nepotism involved as far as why she is where she's at as well.
Well, of course.
You have to factor that in also.
Of course. I don't disagree with that at all. So we're taking your phone calls on that at 257-5396. I also want to talk about Elizabeth Warren. I've never been a supporter of hers. I think she's a phony. She needs to get off the stage. I do like Pete Buttigieg, however. I think he's an extremely intelligent man. Now, as you know, Buttigieg had this fundraiser at a wine cave. So instead of describing it, what he did was basically took $5,000 from donors and had this, it was sort of in a wine cave.
He also did the same thing, pay $1, eat pizza with Mayor Pete.
Exactly.
So he's done this for quite some time. This is kind of how he operates.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And so for whatever reason, Elizabeth Warren decided to go after him for this. And boy, he just destroyed her. I want you to listen to this interaction, and then we're going to talk about it.
The mayor just recently had a fundraiser that was held in a wine cave full of crystals and served $900 a bottle wine. Think about who comes to that. He had promised that every fundraiser he would do would be open door, but this one was closed door. We made the decision many years ago that rich people in smoke-filled rooms would not pick the next president of the United States. Billionaires in wine caves should not pick the next president of the United States.
Mr. Mayor, your response. According to Forbes magazine, I am literally the only person on this stage who's not a millionaire or a billionaire. So if this is important. This is the problem with issuing purity tests you cannot yourself pass. If I pledge never to be in the company of a progressive Democratic donor, I couldn't be up here. Senator, your net worth is 100 times mine. Now, supposing that you went home feeling the holiday spirit, I know this isn't likely, but stay with me, and decided to go on to PeteForAmerica.com and give the maximum allowable by law, $2,800. Would that pollute my campaign because it came from a wealthy person? No, I would be glad to have that support. We need the support from everybody who is committed to helping us defeat Donald Trump.
You know what? And you know what? He just absolutely destroyed her because, first of all, she's one of those rich people. That's what's so amazing about this. And if he didn't have that wine cave event, he would not have been able to be on the stage. He made so many great points. He is a very intelligent person, and she is a complete moron, okay? I don't even think she's extremely intelligent. I really don't. She says dumb things.
Clearly, she doesn't even know that the maximum allowed donation is $2,800.
Not only that, JD.
It would require, he would need 300 of those to get $1 million.
But, JD, it's not only that. Until recently, Elizabeth Warren was doing the exact same thing. She was taking large donors' money from large. So what is she talking about?
The one thing she hasn't done is she hasn't taken large tech money. She hasn't taken Silicon Valley money. But besides that, she's had plenty of major private donations.
What is wrong with taking private donations? There's nothing wrong with that.
Well,
now,
and it's obviously necessary in this day and age to get your word out there, clearly.
He destroyed her. And as somebody
that was very impressive.
As somebody that is a Trump supporter, do you agree with me that he just made her look really bad there?
Well, he decimated her. Period. I mean, she didn't really have. I don't even know what she was trying to accomplish here. But was she saying that? Well, there's a barrier of entry that exists here, and basically, if you don't already have the money, then you can't be around those who are financially well off to propel you to put yourself on a stage like this. Because if you look at the Democratic primary, the next debate, the requirements are 5% of the vote. And 225,000 signatures. That's not easy to get without having millions and millions of dollars backing you. And so she was basically saying that you're not good enough to be up here because you don't have enough money personally to be up here. And I think it's wrong that despite the fact that I'm worth $70 million, that I shouldn't be on the same stage as you because I'm better than you because I have more money than you, and you can't get that money from other wealthy people like myself.
Let me tell you something. It's absolutely.
To me, she destroyed her own argument.
It's absolutely absurd, and I'm going to tell you something. If Joe Biden is the candidate, or whoever else on that stage is the candidate, and they pick Elizabeth Warren to be their vice president, I will absolutely 100% not vote for them because I think she is a moron, she is a phony, and I can't stand her.
And she's a borderline socialist.
I can't. Well, I'm not even going to comment on policy. See, I don't really talk a lot about policy. I talk about the human being. I think she's a phony, just like I think Hillary Clinton's a phony. That's why I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. Now, say what you want about Barack Obama. He's a politician. He's a good politician. But when I hear Barack Obama speak, and maybe it's just because he's a good speaker, he resonates with people. That's why he won. I just don't think that Hillary or somebody, and I'm going to bring up another woman, and if you want to call me a woman hater, you're a moron. I don't care about their gender. I care about what they say. And Amy Klobuchar, the woman who eats salad with a comb because her interns force her to clean her combs, and she treats her interns like
hazing.
She treats her interns like complete crap. Is that the kind of person you want to be the president of the United States? Someone who treats their interns like crap? Okay? And no, I'm not talking about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. To me, that's pretty bad too. But do you remember all the stories that came out about Klobuchar? She's in an airplane, and apparently she gave an intern hell because she didn't have a fork for her salad. So she made the intern clean one of her combs, and she ate first of all, who eats a salad with a comb? I'd rather eat it with my hand than a comb. That's number one. And number two, she decides to go after Pete Buttigieg yesterday. And again, Buttigieg just absolutely destroys her. Have a listen to this exchange.
And the point is, we should have someone heading up this ticket that has actually won and been able to show that they can gather the support that you talk about of moderate Republicans and independents, as well as a fired-up Democratic base. And not just done it once, I have done it 3 times. I think winning matters. I think a track record of getting things done matters. And I also think showing our party that we can actually bring people with us, have a wider tent, have a bigger coalition, and yes, longer coattails, that matters.
Thank you, Senator. Denise?
I got to respond to that. Senator, I know that if you just go by vote totals, maybe what goes on in my city seems small to you. If you want to talk about the capacity to win, try putting together a coalition to bring you back to office with 80% of the vote as a gay dude in Mike Pence's Indiana.
I absolutely love that. And let me say this. I don't care who wins, whether it's Joe Biden or it could be somebody that I wouldn't necessarily vote for, Bernie Sanders. If they choose Pete Buttigieg as their vice presidential candidate,
it's a smart move.
It is worth it for me just to see Pete Buttigieg on a stage right next to the homophobe, which is Mike Pence. I would want to see that debate happen. I absolutely want to see that. And he makes a very valid point there. This man won in Indiana. Mike Pence's Indiana. Do you know how many people in Indiana are against gay marriage? Do you know how many people in Indiana look at somebody because of their sexuality and look at them differently? And keep in mind, Mike Pence was supporting a policy, thank God it didn't go through, of legislation that could have gone through, that believed in conversion therapy, that if you're gay, you should go to convert to try to be straight. Do you know how ridiculous that is? He won in that district.
And by the way, the founder of conversion therapy actually came out as gay earlier this year.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Not surprised at all by that.
That certainly doesn't surprise me at all.
After hearing Mayor Pete twice today, to me, he is absolutely the ideal person to go against. And I think he can definitely go against Donald Trump, despite the fact that he's not. Donald Trump he's a big guy.
He's too smart for Donald.
And Mike Avenatti talks about how optics matter. Yeah, Donald Trump, he's 6'3", probably 260. He's not 230. He's putting on a lot of weight. Pete Buttigieg is not a big guy. He's probably 5'7", 5'8", 150 pounds. but he can handle himself. He has quick-witted responses, and I think that if Donald Trump, and I know he would do this, Donald Trump would attack him for his homosexuality, and he would throw it in his face, and he would make him look really bad if he did that.
Yeah. By the way, going back to Amy Klobuchar, who has about 2% of the vote, she has no business being on that stage. Okay, she said she's great at gathering support. She's great at gathering combs to eat her salad. That's about all she's good for. I cannot stand her. Okay, I cannot stand her. I just so phony. I look at some of these candidates. They're so phony. Buttigieg did a great job last night. Phenomenal job last night. And we do want to get your thoughts on this one. And I want to move to, again, we're going to go back to Christianity. And, for those of you out there that call yourselves good Christians, for those of you out there that are religious, tell me why you wouldn't vote for Pete Buttigieg. Now, if you don't like some of his policies, that's fine. Let's talk about that. But I can tell you right now, there are probably a lot of cowards out there that wouldn't admit it on the radio. But I personally believe there are a lot of people in this country that wouldn't vote for somebody because Pete Buttigieg is gay. Because of his sexuality being different than yours, because he's not exactly like you, you wouldn't vote for him. But you'd rather vote for somebody that is homophobic. I'm sorry, there's something wrong about that.
I believe that number is a lot lower than you think. I think homosexuality is much more socially accepted right now than it's ever been, and by a lot.
Then why is it that like 90% of the Republicans are against gay marriage? Please explain that to me.
I don't buy that.
What do you mean you don't buy that? That's the facts.
I just don't buy it. At this point, I don't think that that's true.
It is. There have been polls that have been out. There have been votes on gay marriage. 9 out of 10 Republicans are against gay marriage.
Republicans are worried about what affects their pocketbook, what either affects their ability to provide for their family or to have a good job. I really think that it's possible that, it's not possible. There are a small amount of Republicans who are definitely against gay marriage, but from what I understand, Republicans prioritize. I don't think that a man marrying another man or a woman marrying another woman is affecting their life negatively enough for that really to be openly against.
There are people out there that cannot separate church and state. They're not capable of doing it. Our religion should not affect policymaking. Our religion should not affect our opinions on others. And Mike Pence, as the vice president of the United States, I talk about this all the time. His wife works at a school where if you are a homosexual, hold on, let me finish. If you're a homosexual, you're not allowed to go to school there. If you're a homosexual, you're not allowed to work there. That is utterly disgusting.
It's also a radical situation. How many schools like that do you think exist in the United States? I would guess less than 10.
Well, guess what? Our vice president's wife works at one of them. So what does that tell you about Mike Pence? Whether there's 2 or 2,000, our vice president, his wife, works at that school. You want to talk about the separation of church and state? You think Mike Pence will ever do anything for the gay community? The answer is no. Absolutely not. We'll take your phone calls, 702-257-5396. We'll open up the lines. Again, that number if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. Oh, I'll tell you something. There's one publication that is finally speaking out. There's one publication that is finally saying, that's it, we've had enough with Donald Trump. You know what they're called? They're called Christianity Today. That's right. That's right. They're helping evangelical Christians interpret the news in a manner that reflects their faith. And they're saying that the impeachment of Donald Trump is a significant event in the story of their republic, and they're saying that it requires comment. In this piece, it says the President of the United States attempted to use his political power to coerce a foreign leader to harass and discredit one of the president's political opponents. That is not only a violation of the Constitution, but more importantly, it is profoundly immoral. This is Christianity Today, saying the reason many are not shocked about this is that this president has dumbed down the idea of morality in his administration. They are no longer supporting the president of the United States. Christianity Today, and they said they finally had enough. So what do you make about that? Now, of course, Trump hasn't taken this kindly with this Christianity Today editorial. He's gone after them. He was up early this morning to offer his thoughts on the magazine. It was founded by Billy Graham, and he's in the stance. He says a far-left magazine, or very progressive, as some would call it, which has been doing poorly and hasn't been involved with the Billy Graham family for many years. Christianity Today knows nothing about reading a perfect transcript of a routine phone call. Trump also went on to attack the magazine, saying he would never read the magazine anymore. Of course, because anybody that disagrees with Donald Trump, unless you're on the Fox Trump network or Fox and Friends, Trump is going to go after you unless you kiss his ask. The number to call, 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call is 257-5396. What do you think about this? What do you think about this publication, this editorial by Christianity Today? To me, this is a big deal because this is the ultra-religious right, at least some of them, that have said that's it. This man is not moral. We can't support him anymore. 257-5396. Let's go to Elias. Elias, thank you for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing there?
Hey, what's up, Elias?
Good. Well, the thing is, you talk about the separation of church and state, and you guys always mention that as if it has to do with us keeping church out of the government, when in reality that term came about the government staying out of the church's business, okay? Now, when it comes to Christianity and the government, I mean, our government was founded on that to protect everyone, okay? So
do you think everybody's protected?
And but part of Christianity is the fact that there are morals, and part of those morals is, against adultery, against things like, I'm sorry, but gay marriage.
Okay, so hold on. Let's start with that.
Let's discriminate against gays or anything like that.
So let me ask you a question then. Okay, Elias, I get your point. So let's talk about those two things. Let's start with adultery. Why would Mike Pence work for Donald Trump if he is a very good Christian, a person of Christian faith, when Donald Trump has committed adultery on numerous occasions with several wives? Why would he work for a guy like that then if he calls himself a good Christian? Please answer that.
So you're saying that he's unperfect, so yet
I didn't say.
For the job.
I didn't say. No, you're the one who brought up adultery, not me. I'm not using the term unperfect.
Of course.
So do you think
myself?
Yeah.
I have sin in myself too, but it doesn't mean that I'm not qualified for repentance.
Okay, so let me ask you another question then. Since you want to talk about sin, it is I'm assuming it's your opinion that if you are gay, it is a sin. Why won't you still let them get married? If you think a sin, you can be forgiven. Why wouldn't you let two gay people marry?
It's not about not letting them marry. It's about you not voting for it. Okay.
No, I'm asking you are you okay with gay marriage? Yes or no?
No.
That has nothing to do with vote. You just made my point for me.
Elias, Elias, it's not Elias, it's Elias, right? That's your name?
Either way.
Okay, Elias. Are you a Republican or a Democrat?
Oh my! Really? You're going to ask him that question?
Just stop.
Well, here it is. I'm a Republican.
What a shocker!
Stop.
Wow, what a shock! No, I'm just so shocked
Elias,
to hear that.
Let me ask you this: how does a man marrying another man affect you negatively, personally?
It doesn't. But I'm not going to vote for it. Okay, knowing that it's against my Christian beliefs.
Right. So because if someone is not like you, you're not going to vote for it, and you want others to live their lives exactly like you. That's very Christian of you. Thank you so much for calling in. Boy, I thought you were going to say you were a left-wing liberal. I'm so shocked you're a Republican. 257-5396 is the number to call. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Dave. Dave, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Dave?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not much.
Love the show.
Thank you.
I just found you a couple lively ago, but
well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for stumbling into the Vegas Take, my friend. We grow on you like fungus. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
I'm a Democrat, and I want to comment on Mayor Pete there.
Sure.
I won't vote for him because he's gay, but not for the reason that you think.
Okay.
My thing is, he's on the world stage, and we have countries out there that are throwing gay people off the roofs. They're not going to shake his hand. What is our foreign diplomacy going to look like?
That's a valid point.
That's a very valid point.
That's a valid point. But listen,
that was my only point. I would vote for him.
Yeah.
For any other office other than a national one where he has to deal with other world leaders.
Well, let me ask you this then. How about as a vice president, or what if he hires someone at the Secretary of State and they do all that job for him? I mean, is there any way there could be a compromise for you? Is there any situation where you would vote for him?
Well, you always have to come down to, the top guys always have to talk, and, they always have to have that, the picture and everybody shaking hands. And if they're throwing people off buildings, they're definitely not going to shake hands and have a cordial conversation with the guy.
Now, yeah. Dave, what countries are you talking about that are quote unquote throwing people off of buildings?
I would imagine
gay?
Middle Eastern countries.
No, but countries.
Middle Eastern countries.
Are you talking?
Things like that? But even
are you talking Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
What superpower does that? What superpower on the level of the United States does that?
We're the only superpower
exactly.
left.
Right. Okay.
Russia, look how they treat the gay people over there.
Yeah, Dave, listen. Dave, listen. Make no mistake about it. It's a valid point you bring up, and that is a concern. And I think somebody needs to ask Pete Buttigieg that question. And you know what? If we get him on the show, and I think eventually we will.
We're probably going to.
I promise you, Dave, we will ask him that question, okay? I really do appreciate the call.
Really good point, Dave.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. Thank you for accidentally stumbling into our show a few weeks ago. We appreciate that. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Neil. Neil, you're up next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Neil?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I just want to say, what is this, Democrat or Republican? I'm nothing. I vote for the person who's going to do the best for me.
I agree. I'm the same way.
For a Democrat, I don't say that I'm Democrat.
Right.
I voted for that person.
Neil,
why is everything labeled?
Neil, I agree.
Right,
and I say this on the show. Let me just make a quick point. I say this on the show all the time, Neil. The two worst words in this country are Republican and Democrat. And the reason for that is too many people in this country do what's best for their party before what's best for the country, Neil.
Because there's a guideline that you're expected to adhere to.
Yeah.
And in most cases, and probably 99% of the cases, you pick and choose one policy from each side that makes your life better. And that's how every single person should vote.
So, Neil, who are you voting for? Who do you support?
I'm not supporting anybody yet at this time because I haven't felt comfortable with anybody.
I don't blame you.
They all want to throw in about racist and something. If I don't like somebody, I don't like them. I have that right.
Yeah, of
but
course.
If I don't like somebody and they're black, right away I'm prejudiced. It has nothing to do with, I can't like somebody who's black without being prejudiced.
I agree, Neil, and I hate people who do that. I really do. Neil, I appreciate your phone call, and I appreciate your opinion. I cannot stand people who say, oh, if you didn't vote for Barack Obama, it must be you're a racist. Or, if you're not supporting Booker or Kamala Harris, you must be a racist. I cannot stand people who play that card. It is absurd because I'd like to think not everyone out there votes for people based on gender or race. But in this case, we've been talking about, sexuality. And sadly, I will say there are people out there that would not vote for Pete Buttigieg because he's gay. All right, we got a couple callers on the line. We got Carl Brady. We will get to you next. It's always an entertaining call when Brady calls in. We're also taking more of your phone calls at 702-257-5396. And I asked this question again. What do you think about Christianity Today saying that they will not support Donald Trump anymore? Your thoughts on that, 257-5396. Take a quick break. More of your calls coming up next. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. Check us out on our YouTube page where I'm sporting JD's wonderful scarf right now. I kind of look a little bit like a rabbi, actually. It's quite attractive. Anyway, also taking your phone call, 702-257-5396. We were talking about the debate last night, highlights, and I guess you could call them bad judgments, going after the wrong types of people. Again, that number is 702-257-5396. And look, this is a big story. Make no mistake about it. When Christianity Today comes out and says things like this about Donald Trump, that they won't support him anymore, also went on to say no matter how many hands we win in this political poker game, we are playing with a stacked deck of gross immortality and ethical incompetence. And just when we think it's time to push all our chips to the center of the table, that's when the whole game will come crashing down. That is very, very interesting and important. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the show, 257-5396. Let's lead off with Brady. Brady, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Brady?
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. I'm calling in today with a heavy heart, just like Nancy. But the media, you were talking about the Christian magazine, Billy Graham's son or whoever that wrote some stuff down again for the media to look at. All that is the media has been weaponized since day one after Trump took office. There's another weaponry tool under Obama, along with the FBI and the NSA and the DOJ.
Yeah.
And that all it is a tool. And that's what's been used for how many years now to destroy Trump.
All right, so let me ask you a question then, Brady. And I think it's a very simple question. Forget about whether Donald Trump is a Republican or a Democrat. I'm not sure you can do that, but let's try to do it for 10 seconds. And let's talk about the essence of this article and the reason why this publication is no longer supporting Donald Trump. And I'll ask you this very, very simple question. In no way, shape, or form do I think our president should be perfect. But do you think Donald Trump and his behavior is moral? It's a very simple yes or no question, and I'm asking you to be intellectually honest for 10 seconds. Can you do that?
Is it moral?
Is Donald Trump a moral human being when he goes after Dingle and he says, makes the reference that he's looking up from hell? Is he moral when he cheats on his wives, multiple wives? Is he moral when he goes after...
Only God only God has the right.
Don't
to
you?
judge.
No. Don't you?
Brian Poppins does
Hold
too,
on,
because Brian's
hold on.
perfect.
Okay, don't use God as a scapegoat and an excuse. I'm asking you, Brady, a very specific question. Do you think Donald Trump's behavior is moral? It's a yes or no question, and if you can't answer it, quite frankly, I'm going to move on to the next call.
I actually think yes, it is. He's fine.
Really?
I have
He's
no
very
problem.
so Donald Trump is a very moral person for having unprotected sex with a porn star 2 months
That's
after
not
his wife has a
morality.
child.
That happens all the time, Brian. You wouldn't be here. if
That
your parents
happens
had
all the
unprotected
time? So you're telling me you're married and you've cheated on your wife with a porn star and had unprotected sex?
What did your father tell your mother when you were born?
Let me tell you something, and now you're going to listen because you're asking about my family. Let me tell you a little something about my family. Okay, Brady? My family, my parents have been married for 30 years, okay?
Great.
My father, the only woman he has ever been with in his life is my mother. My mother has never cheated on the father, and guess what? I'm not a perfect human being. Hold on, let me finish. I've made mistakes with women, but I have never cheated on a woman I have either dated, girlfriend, or been in a relationship with. Now, if you want to take the low ground, not the high ground, okay, and you want to say, well, that's God's way to judge, I can guarantee you if Obama did something that was immoral, you'd be the first buffoon calling into the show blasting Barack Obama. You are such a hypocrite, and you are so biased in your opinions that you can't even come on this radio show and say, you know what? Donald Trump is not a very moral person. He's done a lot of immoral things in his life. And the fact you can't even admit that makes you a complete idiot.
Well, one thing is you everybody on your Democratic side, or I don't know.
I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat. So you want to start that over again?
Anti-Trumpers. You anti-Trumpers. I got it.
But he does own
No, you know what
camels.
I am? Anti-immoral. I'm anti-immoral, and our president is immoral.
How did you people become so smart, just like clinical?
You
Carl, that
people,
you're so smart
you
with
people. First of all,
psychology?
you're telling
How are
me.
you
Hold
so
on a second.
smart?
Pot him down. You're telling me you have to be smart to understand that if you have unprotected sex with a porn star 2 months after your wife has a child, you have to be smart to say that's immoral? Brady, is that your position?
Don't interfere in people's marital affairs.
Okay, you're a moron. Goodbye. You're a complete moron.
Brady, great call.
Yeah, wonderful call.
Really good
Yeah,
call.
you have to be really smart to know that Donald Trump is immoral. What a joke.
Your parents got married when you were 9?
It's ridiculous. Yes.
Really?
702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, that number to call is 257-5396. What a jackass. Anyway, let's go to Mike. Mike, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Hey, how you doing? Good. I listen once in a while, but I'd love to debate the crazy guy for about 2 hours. Anyway, what I'm calling
Wait,
about
who's the
is-
crazy
Are you
guy?
talking about Brian?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
So Mike, why am I crazy?
That's what I like to hear, Mike.
What have I said in this show for the last hour and a half that you would consider your definition of crazy? I'd love to hear it.
First off, I haven't listened to you for the last hour and a half. I've
Okay,
listened
I didn't
to
ask you.
about 10
Okay,
minutes.
so what have I ever said on this show? Give me one example of something that you think is crazy, because you just labeled me crazy.
Well, what I heard the other day was you said some lady was with Oprah Winfrey.
What?
Yelling and screaming at people and not letting them
Oprah
talk.
Winfrey?
Talking
You
about-
do the same thing.
First of all-
he's talking. He's talking about
Okay.
the Meghan McCain Oprah Winfrey situation.
First of all, Oprah. This had nothing to do with Oprah Winfrey. I don't know what
I'm
you
sorry,
both are
I'm sorry.
talking
No,
about.
I'm sorry,
The way
Whoopi
that you
Goldberg.
talk, the way that lady talked. You were saying that lady's
That lady.
interrupting everybody.
Can you be a little
doesn't
more
listen to
specific, because
anything.
you're talking crazy? Can you please be a little more specific? Thank you.
Let's go over my question first. Is
Yeah,
that
no,
all right?
no. You called. No, it's not all right. You called me crazy. Now I want to know a specific situation of something that you want. Are you talking about Meghan McCain? By the way, it's called The View. It's not Oprah Winfrey. So why don't you get your facts right if you're going to call into a 50,000-watt radio station? See, to me, I'll tell you what the definition of crazy is, Mike. I'm going to call into a 50,000-watt radio station, and I don't know the difference between Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg. Why? Because they're both black. You mix up the two? What the hell is wrong with you? Whoopi Goldberg has done a bunch of movies. She's been a comedian for a very long time. You don't know the difference between the two of them? You don't know who Oprah Winfrey is and Whoopi Goldberg is? I think you're crazy. Now go ahead with your crazy, stupid comment.
I'm sorry. I did make a mistake.
Yeah, you did. And you also made a mistake calling me crazy because you haven't come up with one logical thing that I've done or said on the show that is crazy. I'll give you another chance. Go ahead. But don't bring up Oprah Winfrey, dummy.
What is the reason why the gay men?
You sound like Joe Biden. You sound like Joe Biden, who stuttered
Brian,
yesterday.
Let him
No,
finish.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
asking you a simple question.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. Go ahead.
Do you know why that the gay people wanted marriage to be whatever?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, let me answer your
What
question.
is that?
You ask. I'll answer your question. There's several different reasons for that. First of all, They don't want to be looked at differently. They don't want people like you to look at them differently because they're just not like you. That's number one. Number two, they want the same rights that you or I have. Number three, okay, when you love somebody and you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, it is a very emotional thing to say that this is my husband or this is my wife. And for years, many people that are homosexuals have not been able to do that.
And number four, they want marital benefits.
Of course. There's several different reasons.
They want, when they go into a hospital and they want to visit the person that they're whatever with.
That's one reason.
That's their partner.
That's one reason.
It's a big reason.
Disallowed that. The laws would not allow them.
I understand.
So if the laws were different, if the laws allowed them to visit people in the hospital, this might not have happened. Did
you not listen to one word that I just said? I just said that when somebody loves somebody else, they want to spend the rest of their life with them. And when they can say, this is my husband or this is my wife, that's very important to them.
So, Mike, are you in favor or not in favor of gay marriage?
Really? You're really going to ask him that question? Wow, I can't wait to hear the answer.
There you are, crazy talking again.
No, that's not crazy talking.
Answer a question.
Okay, well, I'm going to guess that you're against gay marriage. Am I wrong? Yes or no? Answer the question.
You're wrong.
Oh, really? You're for gay marriage?
I'm neither for nor against.
Oh, so you're a coward. You're a Tulsi Gabbard. So you're a Tulsi Gabbard. Is that what you're saying? Go ahead. Go ahead.
A what?
You don't even know who Tulsi.
Going crazy again. Not allowing someone to answer a question.
Oh, so you're going to say you don't know who Tulsi Gabbard is?
Pretty much, no, I don't.
Okay, well, you sound very educated.
That's
Go ahead.
fair. No, he doesn't have to know who Tulsi Gabbard is, Brian.
Yes. Go ahead.
More educated than you, I'm sure.
Yeah, very much so. You can't. You don't even know the difference between Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey. Go ahead.
I apologize for that.
Yeah,
unlike somebody I know.
I accept your apology.
The thing is whatever they want to do is fine. It's not for me to judge. So if they want to be with a guy or girl or whatever, that's their issues. To me, that's not up to them. The thing is the government, our U.S. government, doesn't allow them to do things.
And your point? That's the point you were trying to make when you called into the show.
Our government's screwing everything up.
Okay.
Our government's messing
so why didn't you
things up.
let me ask you a question, Mike. Why didn't you just start this conversation by saying
he wanted to tell you were crazy first.
So you start the conversation and you just said you don't like judging people.
Which sent you into orbit.
Yeah, well, you start the conversation by calling me crazy, and then you can't come up with one logical reason why I am, and then you say you don't judge people. You're a hypocrite. 702-25. No. You're done now.
The last 5 minutes, he didn't really have to say anything. You kind of just did it yourself.
He didn't make one logical point in that entire phone call, and he wasted 5 minutes of our show. I want 5 minutes of my life back. Mike, in closing, I'll just say I think you're crazy.
Hey, good call, Mike.
You need to go to a mental institution. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to JJ. JJ, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
What's up, JJ?
JJ, did we lose you? Did we lose JJ? 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Marge. Marge, you are next on the Vegas Take. What's going on, Marge?
Hey, Marge.
Happy Friday, and I guess it's happy birthday for JD's daughter today.
Yes, thank you very much. My daughter Emmy turned 2 today.
Who is, by the way, not a fan of CNN, because one time I was watching CNN at his house, and she actually takes the remote and turned it off. Yeah, it's incredible.
She has very, very good political instincts.
Future Republican.
Yeah.
I hope she never calls into this show. I hope I don't ever call her a name. I hope that never happens. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marge.
I think JD needs to groom her for political office one of these days.
So what's up, Marge? What do you think about this?
Several points, and I told Johnny that you've got a lot of things going today. But one thing, I think it was Dave that said something about dealing with the world stage, and there are some countries that throw, unfortunately, gay people off the roof, et cetera.
Sure.
Well, the thought that I also had when Hillary was running, and even when women were starting to rear their head that they want to be president, is there are also parts of this world that see women as probably fourth-class citizens. And how does someone in that office deal with those type of countries? So that's one point. It's psychocolor. I think that inevitably we'll have probably a male gay president one of these days. I think that'll happen maybe even before a woman ever gets elected.
I tend to agree with you on that. Yes.
Which is fine by me. I have no problems with that at all. And as far as that group that has disavowed themselves from Trump, I never understood why they backed him to begin with. Based on not only his record personally, But all the things that he's been saying, and this thing with Dingle the other day was just
wasn't that despicable?
Yeah,
it was awful.
It was par for the course for him, considering the fact that Dingle went after him for the better part of the year.
No, it's not par for the course. When somebody has died, how can you, JD? How can you say that's par for the course?
I'm not justifying it. I'm just not surprised that he did what he did.
How can you say it's par for the course? You can't compare what Dingle said to what Trump said.
It's par for the course for Donald Trump.
The man died, and
it's a standard reaction for Donald Trump to do what he did.
Which is a sad thing to say. That a woman who is a widow who is still hurt, this wasn't 20 years ago when she lost her husband. Even if it was that, it would still be inappropriate. And to say and to refer to that he's in hell is just absolutely, utterly disgusting.
He might be in hell. He doesn't know if he's in hell.
We're talking semantics.
Well,
we know what he said. We know it was wrong. He won't apologize because that's who the man is.
Right, yeah. And the other thing is I kind of cringed when Joe Biden talked about stuttering.
It was a weird moment. I think I understand.
I did mention this to your producer about what popped in my head was when he was trying to impersonate the disabled person during his campaign. And I have a very bad feeling that he's going to start impersonating Biden that way now with stuttering.
You know what, Marge, I'm going to say there's at least a 50% chance that happens. I appreciate your phone call.
Mark.
Always good to hear from you.
I want to say something about this publication, Christianity Today. It has 130,000 circulation and 260,000 readership, which is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. It's in states where Trump's already going to win easily, and so let's say 30 or 40% of those readers decide not to vote for Trump. He's not going to feel it. And the son of the person who started the magazine, Franklin Graham, Billy Graham's son, went out and said, my father would not support this particular article.
Okay, but
and he thought Donald Trump was the best candidate.
Here's what I would say to that: just because you're not a member of their publication doesn't mean you don't see this story. You're assuming just because you are a member, you read this publication, they're the only people, votes that could be changed. What you're not understanding, I don't think, is that this is a national story. Everybody, millions and millions of people are going to hear it. I don't know if it's going to change the election. All I'm saying is it is interesting that a far-right publication is now saying they denounced Donald Trump. That's all I'm saying.
It is definitely interesting, but the readership or the listenership or the circulation is roughly the same as our show every 3 or 4 months, just in the Las Vegas market.
And again, I understand that, but the point I'm trying to make is just because you don't read their publication doesn't mean you're not going to hear this story. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Good morning, Mr. Sharp and Mr. Shapiro. How you doing today?
Doing
good,
great.
Sir. What's on your mind?
Well, I watched the debate last night, and they make me feel dirty because these guys are so corrupt. They've got nothing to stand for, no platform, only chop down our president. Biden saying that the economy is in the dumps, the middle class is being hammered, and the poor are getting poorer is all crap. If you go down to California, they've raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour now. It's going to go up more, but thousands of businesses now are going broke because of the Democrats' plan of raising minimum wage. But one question: if Buttigieg gets in, how are they going to classify his mate? The first lady man or the first man lady or what?
Okay, let me respond to that. Here's the first thing I'm going to say.
Hey, Mike, totally inappropriate, by the way.
Hold on.
I know it is. I say a lot of inappropriate stuff, but Mike, I don't care. It's my opinion, and that's how I feel.
Okay, that's fine, Mike. Now, let me respond to a few things that you said. First of all, you used the term all the people on the stage are corrupt. So let me ask you a question, since you're obviously anti-Pete Buttigieg. What has he done in his career that's corrupt? Can you please give me one specific example of something that is 100% that you have proof that is corrupt?
Just the lies they're spewing.
Give me specific. No, I didn't say lies they're spewing. You just said everyone on that stage was corrupt. We're talking specifically about one candidate, Pete Buttigieg, and I'm asking you a very specific question to a very generic statement that you made. Give me one specific example of something Pete Buttigieg has done in his life that you have absolute 100% proof is corrupt. Please answer the question.
I'm talking about a stage performance on his.
No. With all due respect, you started this call by saying everyone on that stage last night was corrupt. I will ask you one. I will ask you. Okay, so give me one.
Corruption?
Okay, so no, lying and corruption are two different things. But I'll even go with your stance on lying. What did Pete Buttigieg do in his life or say on the stage that was a blatant lie? Please be specific.
He's number one is donors. He's getting millions of dollars from his donors. Otherwise, he wouldn't be.
How is that a lie? He never said he never accepted money from donors. I'm asking you. You just said he's corrupt and he lies. I'm going to ask you now.
Right. He speaks out of two sides of his mouth.
So be specific.
On one side, they're all saying millionaires.
You're speaking out of your ass. I've asked you I've asked you 5 times now. This is the 6th time.
I just told you, he's a lying bastard.
Okay, you've said that a million times, and I'm asking you to be specific now for the 7th time.
I just told you. They're all saying that
this guy's such an idiot. It's unbelievable.
It's not.
It's
the best economy we've ever had.
I'm asking you now for the 8th time because you're such a moron.
I just told you.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
That our economy
you're calling him a liar
was in the tank, and that he was going to make it better.
He did not say last night that our economy was in the tank. He didn't say that last night on the stage. So now you're the liar, and you're the one who's corrupt. You know what?
No,
Mike,
I'm not the liar.
Mike, you're corrupt.
Every day,
Mike,
every
hey, Mike.
Damn day they
hey, Mike.
said,
If I said every damn day, if I said every damn day your family's corrupt and your family's a liar, what would you say to me? No, we're not. Give me one example of something we've done.
Candidate,
no, you're just an idiot. You're right. You're not a presidential candidate. You're some idiot that calls into a radio show that calls somebody a liar and calls somebody corrupt. And when I give you literally 8 chances to be specific, you can't answer it because you have an IQ of about 20.
The issue is that he made an all-encompassing statement, that a blanket statement about every single candidate up there last night. And when you make a statement like that, you have to be able to back it up when asked.
Did I not give him like 10 opportunities?
And honestly, do you think that if Pete Buttigieg wasn't homosexual, and if homosexuality was perceived as more accepted on the Republican side of the ticket, that he would actually run as a Republican? I feel like he kind of would.
No, because a lot of his policy making doesn't go well with the right. It's a fair question, but listen, he is for taxing the rich. Republicans are not going to go for that. That's for sure. He is for tax breaks and helping very needy people. He is pro-abortion, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. He's not anti-abortion. So there's a lot of I think he's certainly more moderate, certainly, than a lot of the other Democrats that are on the stage, but I don't see him turning Republican. I just don't see that based on his policy making. You know what I mean? But he's certainly more, and that's why I like him, JD.
Right. He's more closer to libertarian.
Well, he's more in the middle, and that's why I like him. I mean, I like Bernie Sanders as a person. I think he's a good man. He's been a civil rights activist for a long time. Bernie Sanders is a decent man, but some of his views are just so far to the left. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't vote for him. But I think he's a good guy. You can be a good guy, and I don't support you. I would rather vote for somebody like a Bernie Sanders than vote for somebody that I think is a bad person, if that makes sense, even if I do agree with all their policies. Why don't we go to Ron? Ron, you're next on the Vegas Take, 257-5396. Ron, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Ron?
Hello, guys. Enjoying the show here. I work a day shift, so I only get to hear you a couple of days a week, but I enjoy the show. I appreciate
that.
A lot, Ron.
Appreciate that, Ron. Thank you.
Okay, help me out here. I'm looking for an alternative. Again, like I said, I listen to the debates. I listen to, I pride myself into getting all the networks.
Sure.
MSNBC.
And I think that's important, Ron. And I think that's important that you watch all the networks and not just one. I think that's very important.
Right. And I try to disregard some of the stuff that people say on TV once they make the advocate, once they make a stance on which direction they go in.
Right.
Like I said, you kind of weed through that a little bit. But like I say, I'm just going to kind of add something to this.
Sure.
The alternative that we have as far as the Democratic Party, and you hit it on the button. I think they're all genuine good people down deep.
Most.
And they believe what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is just like you said a while ago, they're so far to the extreme on one side on
right.
a lot of things.
Exactly.
That and I'm not understanding. Like I said, that's the reason I'm not. Not that I could be a public official or anything like that. There's
right.
There's no way I could.
I don't know. You've got a pretty good voice, Ron.
Do what?
You got a pretty good voice, Ron. You could probably be a public official.
Oh God!
I'll tell you what, Ron. You're making a lot more sense than probably the last 20 callers. So yeah.
Well, I have employees underneath me, and like I said, I hear things, I see things, or something like that. But I can't judge them by what personally they maybe do or what I think do or something. I judge them on the work that they do. Okay, but
and I think that's fair.
And moral guy, like I said, I'll answer your question about Trump. No, he's not moral. And to my standards, to my way of living, no, he's not moral.
Yeah, Ron, I think to any decent human being, by the way, and you sound like a smart guy and a good man. I think to any decent human being, they would agree with you, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. No, of course Donald Trump is not moral. And we talk a lot about other presidents, and people talk about Bill Clinton and the immoral things that he's done, and that's fine. I call that whataboutism, but the thing I say about Obama all the time is you could disagree with him as a policymaker, as a politician. I'm not an Obama defender. I didn't think he was a great president, but I always say this about Obama, and my opinion is not going to change until he proves to me that he's not a good father or a good husband. He's a decent human being. He's a respectful man. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Linda. Linda, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good. What's
doing
on
great, Linda.
Okay, you guys know I'm a Trump supporter, but and we all know Trump says things that, oh my gosh, we wish he wouldn't have said, but he does. Now, my concern is if Buttigieg was ever to be the candidate, I would just hope to God that Trump really thinks clear and does not say anything about him being gay.
Exactly.
I just think that would be terrible. So I really hope he really thinks about that.
And I actually think that he's the biggest threat to Trump because I'm not sure that Trump can avoid doing that just as who he is as a human being. And I'm a Trump supporter, but I think he's going to have a really hard time not using that against Pete Buttigieg on a national platform.
Linda, I think that is a very valid point that you make, and I also believe that Buttigieg is extremely intelligent. He's quick on his feet. Let me ask you.
I do too. I think he speaks well. He looks good. I mean, he's the whole package. You'd accept. I just hope, not accept because he's gay. I don't mean that. I
understand.
hope
I understand.
Trump can control his mouth or whatever.
Linda,
his brain, whatever you want to say.
Linda, you make a valid point. I know you're a Trump supporter. There's nothing wrong with that, and I think you bring up a very valid concern that I think other Republicans would fail to be honest and admit. Linda, it's good to hear from you, and I appreciate the phone call.
Yeah, good call, Linda.
One thing about
Sure,
Bloomberg.
Sure, go ahead.
Remember when Bloomberg said he complimented Cory Booker and he said he spoke very well? Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay, and then right away they said Bloomberg was a racist statement and he had to apologize. Well, when I heard that, I thought to myself, oh, gee, that was really nice that Bloomberg said that.
Yeah.
I never once thought anything about racist. So instead of him apologizing, he should have just said to them, you guys must be the racist ones for even thinking that.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a valid
that's what
point.
He should have said.
Yeah, no, you're right, Linda. I don't disagree with you. Really good call. And let me just say this: the last thing we need in this country is another billionaire that's running this country. I do not support Bloomberg. I think he's a little nuts. He reminds me, his mannerisms are very similar to Rudy Giuliani. I guess I will just leave it at that. I've got about I don't have enough time to take another call. I apologize. There's more people on hold. I apologize to you guys. Sometimes, man, you're just up against the clock. You're up against the break. We just did 90 minutes straight of phone calls. That happens with live radio. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all of you. This is going to be a lot of fun coming up next. We're going to be getting to my mother. That's right. Denise will be calling into the show next, and we are going to be psychoanalyzed on the show. So if you think I'm crazy, if you think I'm a nut job, well, we're going to find out if that's actually true. Coming up next on the Vegas Take. Be back right after this.